at Done by Dorothy. We're here today celebrating, getting ready for our 25 days of Christmas. We're in day 2. I will link day 1 in the description box below, as well as, you know, our Facebook group, all our links, how to contact me, all that kind of stuff. It'll all be below. Be sure to like, subscribe, you know, hit the bell if you want to be notified, because we will be having our tutorials coming out, you know, every single day for our 25 days of Christmas. There will also be an additional one besides a bonus one, because we're actually going to put all of our 25 digital images together, or all of our ephemera that we make at the end, into a Christmas journal. And then on Christmas Day, well, I probably a couple days before, I will release the last of the videos, so you have time to get them done before Christmas in case you're doing that. Maybe like the week before or so. And we will also do a giveaway of the journal we make with our ephemera. So we're looking forward to that. But this is just sort of my thank you for your support for, you know, the year, for Merry Christmas. So again, like, subscribe, share with your friends. So let's get on with it. This is day 2. Today we have the frame with the little girls. We have the fussy cut of the little girls. And then we also have the oval with Father Christmas. So those are digitals for today. If you missed yesterday, and it will be linked in the box below, this is what we made yesterday, and this is how I put it in my journal. I just slid it in there. I do have 11 tea and coffee dyed pages within my journal so far. That's just the coffee dyed paper. I haven't added all the pages in between. I sort of build mine after I get my ephemera in, so I know, you know, the length, the width of my spine, that type of thing. So that's there. So for today, we have the frame, which I've made into a tuck spot. We have a large tag, again with the cutouts, and the number 2. We are doing the 25 days of Christmas. I am using the Stampin' Up! 25 Days collection. I think it's still available. I got mine at a yard sale for like $5, so that's what we're using. So, and it just tucks in there as a large card. And then we're doing Father Christmas with sort of an antiqued frame look. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's get right in there. So let's start with talking about our frame. Now when you get your digital image, it's going to be on your page. Notice how you have basically about a ½ inch space over here. If you want to cut it out and use it as a frame, feel free to cut it out. You know, back it with some tea-dyed, coffee-dyed paper, turn it into a large journaling card. Or, you know, cut just the girls out, turn it into a small journaling card. There's a ton of things, you know, make it into the front, you know, glue it onto a piece of cardstock. There's some coffee dyed paper in there, make you a mini journal if you want. Tons of things you can do. But how we have this edge over here, when I cut mine out, I left all 3 edges on there to show you. You could score here, here, and here. Fold each side under in the bottom. Create a pocket, you know, from the top. I actually want to make a tuck spot out of mine, so I'm just going to trim this edge off over here, converting it into a tuck spot instead of a pocket. Let me get this out of the way. Let me grab my scoreboard. I have a scoreboard. This is actually a Stampin' Up! Scoreboard. You can buy EK Tools. There's tons of scoreboards. They're well worth having, and they save a lot of time and effort. So I'm just going to score right along those edges. I'm just going to line it up and score it. Easy money. Absolutely love Christmas. So I was sort of glad to get Thanksgiving over with, just because I wanted to get to Christmas. And just, you know, make sure you have it lined up, and then score right along the edge. And we're going to ink, so, you know, if it's not exactly correct, we will cover. So get my scoreboard out of the way. Okay. We're folding And I've got my score tool here somewhere, but I'm not even going to look for it. If you don't have a score tool, because some people don't, you can use the back of your scissors. You can use a ruler. You can use a punch. I mean, any kind of, you can use your fingernail, you know, your thumbnail. So, and you can see where I scored along the edge. It's a little rough over there. But we're going to pull out our ink up around the edge. All that white's already gone. And I always sort of go down the side a little bit just because I like to have it covered up. And there's several different things you can do. Like on the last one, you know, I left mine square. You could curve it. You could put all kinds of, you know, things underneath of it. Lace and doilies, and, you know, you could do lots of things. I'm going to open mine up over here just so I can keep an eye with what I'm doing. Okay. Then, what I did for my tuck is I simply just, I used art glitter glue. You could use double-sided tape, you know, any kind of wet glue. And then I just sort of lined it up about, oh, a quarter of an inch or so away from the side and the bottom. That's it. You got your tuck page. It's done. Easy money. So, that piece of ephemera is done and out of the way. So now, we're going to move on to our oval. Again, I'm going to go ahead and ink around it. And you can go ahead and ink around the little fussy cat girls too, since you have it out, and just have it done. Because we all know inking on that just adds more of a done look to it, I think. Besides the, and this is Vintage Photo Distress Ink from Tim Holtz. It's probably my favorite to use, just because I love the old antique-y look that it sort of gives. And again, I'm just inking up around the edges, you know, covering up that white edge so it doesn't look like I just cut it out of paper. It looks more like an antique piece of ephemera. So that's that, and we can lay the girls to the side. We'll get to those in a minute. Okay, so I have this. So next what we're going to do is you need a piece of aluminum foil. And, you know, you can do all sorts of things with it. I sort of wadded mine up a little bit. Sort of wad it up. And then unfold it. And this, my aluminum foil came from the Dollar Tree. I didn't buy, like, name brand. So it is really thin. So you have to sort of be careful, because if you just go jerking it out. Okay, so I just flatten it back out. You guys are probably going, what in the world is she gonna do? Well, we'll show you in a minute. So I lay my oval in there. I'm just gonna estimate. It doesn't have to be exact. Do not worry about the aluminum foil hurting your scissors. It actually sharpens them. So not only are we making our ephemera, we're sharpening our tools. Okay. Put that to the side. Okay. Now, I'm just going to pull out a scrap piece of paper. And I'm going to turn my foil over. And you have a really, really shiny side, and you have more of a dull side. I use the dull side. Let me grab my rag over here, and I'm going to grab my gesso brush. So you'll need gesso, and you'll need your brush. And yes, I'm using our DIY gesso. I will link the DIY gesso video in the description box below. And you don't have to put a ton, but you do want to make sure you coat the foil. when I was little, just while I'm doing this, I'll meander in my thoughts. When I was little, my grandmother had tons of photos that set out, you know. I have, my dad's one of 9 boys. So, needless to say, between boys and grandkids, there were pictures everywhere. And she always had these, and they were farmers, so I'm sure they weren't, like, expensive. But she always had these really old silver frames that were, they almost looked like the paint was peeling off, and they had sort of had like that crackled look to them. But I don't think they were supposed to be crackled. I think they were just that old. Maybe something she had bought at an auction or something, you know, a farm auction, you know, when somebody passed away or something like that. That type of thing. But they were really, really old, and this is sort of where the idea for this frame came from. So we're actually making a picture frame. It's not perfect, but I didn't want it to be perfect. So, you know, if there's something else you would rather do, you could, oh, I am so sorry I dropped it. Give me a second. While we're letting this dry, you know, you could back it with cheesecloth, lace, a doily, you know, just as a corner spot on a page. Just like the corner spot we did, you didn't have to do the frame around. You could just lay this down, or, you know, lay it in the middle of a red piece of paper, or a green piece of paper, or, you know, whatever you wanted to. I am going to pause the video and dry this with my gun really fast, just so you guys don't have to hear it, and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, seriously, that takes all of about 15 seconds. It doesn't take very long at all. And it's dried. So, what we're going to do now, and you may want to use, I use an old sponge. I just keep my vintage photo, and it's old, and it works well like that. So I'm going to ink it up, and I'm just going to ink it up because I want it to have that old sort of vintage feel. I can't talk today, guys. I'm so sorry. I've had such a horrid time with my sinuses. Just that time of year, I guess. And you can see this, it is a great effect. So if you've never, you know, done it with aluminum foil, it's sort of like you do with tissue paper when you're, you know, doing a faux leather cover. You know, if you've never seen that, you know, let me know and I can post a video about that. I love doing the faux leather look. Okay, so see, that's sort of the look you get. Okay, so now I'm going to use double-sided tape. You could use Fabri-Tac, anything like that. I'm just using double-sided tape because it's easy. And this is Sue Quain's score tape from Score Pal. You know, I've used a lot of different double-sided tapes, and I just, first of all, I love the fact that I don't have to spend, well, now that I'm going to say this, it'll work that way, but I don't have to spend 10 hours trying to pull the backing off of it. With a lot of double-sided tapes, I just struggle, or the tape comes up with it. This just all around works really great. Okay, so, you're going to pull your backing off, have your tape ready. You're going to center it. You need to make sure that you have enough that you can cut your oval frame around the outside. And I would leave close to, you know, depending on how wide you want your frame to be, maybe a ½ an inch or so. That'll give you about a ¼ of an inch frame. And then just make sure you burnish it down really good. And you could use a bone folder with that if you wanted to. And then I just sort of, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to fold it around anyway. Just sort of, you know, keep that ½ an inch going around. There you go. So then what we're going to do is you're going to take that 1/2 inch, fold it in to the edge all the way around. Hold on and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Let me get a little bit more done. And it, like I said, you can go a little bit over the edge. It's fine. There's no mistakes. Like Bob Ross says, there's only happy accidents. So see, you're just going to fold it roughly in half all the way around. And you're just going to do that all the way around. Then you're going to take your fingers and just sort of press and flatten that out as much as you can. You can use a bone folder. I just don't think it does as well as your fingers for this actual application. Okay, then you're going to take it and you're just going to fold it over. And as you go, you're going to press it hard. Because it's already taped underneath, you really don't have to tape it or glue it. Now, if you are one of those people that I tend not to stress maybe about some things, and my art is one of those, because that's, you know, that's where you find your calm and your passion, and, you know, that's my solace from the horrid things that, you know, you face in life and the world. You know, you turn on the news and it's, you know, you hear a lot of bad things or whatever, and it's just my peaceful place. So I tend not to stress. So I'm not stressing about if it comes back up. Most of it's going to tuck in. So you're going to go around, just tuck it in. And then if you see a place like this right here where you can see it's wider, you just lift it up, sort of fold it under a little bit, and tuck it some more. So there I have basically my roughed. So I'm going to take my ink again, and I'm going to ink the edge up because I want it, you know, to have that darker brown. Now, you could do this and not do the brown if you just wanted that white and silver. If you just wanted silver, or you could do it with a gold paint, you know, create that gold look. I was sort of going for that old vintagey wood. You remember when they used to, you know, make all the plastic wood frames, you know, that were really inexpensive. Okay, and then I use my black, again, an old sponge, and just barely hit the very outside edge, just because it creates like a secondary shadowing that sort of, you know, gives it more depth when you put it on your page. So just on the outside edge. I'm not putting it flat. I'm literally going just on that outside lip. There you go. Sorry if you could hear the car going by. And you're just going to grab your page. Then, let me see what happened to it. Okay. Then I have a piece of, you guys remember we used our potato bag yesterday? Let me pull it back out so you can see it. And again, it's just a honey gold bite-sized potato bag from Meyer is where this actually came from. You can find it whatever, any kind of potato bag. And I'm just going to use it sort of to stencil. See how we have the underlining stencil? And we're going to use it on our next thing too. I figured since we had it, might as well use some more. So I just sort of lay it flat and just sort of rub, just sort of creating. And I don't want it all in one spot. It doesn't even have to, you know, be perfect. I'm just randomly putting it down. I'm sorry if there's a lot of, it seems like there's a lot of shadowing today. And if it's the weather outside, maybe. So, there we go. I'm going to grab it. Since I have the aluminum foil on the back, I'm actually going to use Fabri-Tac because it tends to fold really well. And I'm just going to, you know, spread some on there. And I'm just going to randomly sort of find where I want that metal to be. And then rub it down really well. Burnish it extremely well. So this leaves you all of this journaling space, but you have this sort of cute little vintage looking frame around it. And I sort of like the fact you get that 3D feel, and with the aluminum foil you get a different feel. And once it dries, like right now it's already dry, it's not going to rub off. And again, you know, like with using the gesso, you could use red, you could use green, you could use gold. You could leave it silver. Silver's a little shiny for me. I would buff it out with something if I was, you know, going to do that. Sort of maybe some matte gesso would just sort of take the shine away. So, there's that. So, onward and upward. The last thing we're going to work on is our tag. And this was actually a, well, you might be able to see it through there. I don't know. At the very top was a Tim Holtz ideology card that I just covered. And I didn't have another one of those. So I'm just going to use a piece of a cereal box. This actually measures 4 by 7 1/4. This one, if you wanted the wider version, is about 4 5/8. So yeah, that sort of leaves you out there for what you want to do. So I'm going to, let me find, oh, I got it over here. My piece of coffee dyed paper. Let me make sure I cover my Fabri-Tac up. It'll be all dried up on me. Okay. So, first thing off, I'm going to glue this down on my coffee dyed paper. I am not sewing around the edge of these today because, you know, some people don't have sewing machines, and I'm trying to keep this, you know, for most people. I'm guessing if you have a sewing machine and you've sewed around tags, then, you know, you pretty much know what you're doing. So, I glue the front side down. So this will be a little bit different because the other one I covered with gesso, and we'll cover this with some gesso too, just because I sort of like that whited in background. Or I guess we could, oh, let's do it up different. We'll just coffee dye it and just accent it with some gesso instead of painting the whole thing with gesso. How's that? Okay. So, I'll line this up as close as I can to the edge. I don't want to really waste any paper. Oh, I really like how that has that dyed edgings and look really pretty on the back. I think I'll leave that on the front. I really like that. So, now that we've covered front and back, I got a little bit of excess over on the edge. Trim it up. Let's see. And then go through, and if you have any corners that are just stuck up, just re-glue those. Make sure, I always make sure my edges are down, because if anything's going to come up, it's going to be on your edges as you're going in and out of your pockets. So I sort of go around and double check those. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but it could save you having to rework your whole entire tag later. So to me, it's worth the, you know, couple seconds it takes to for each corner to go around and just double check. And, you know, if you were a little bit more cautious when you put your glue down, instead of just randomly squirting it everywhere like I do, you may not have to go back and do that. So, okay. Got that. Let me put my topper back on my glue. Okay. And I'm gonna grab my inker. I know a lot of people are probably going, what is she doing? You save your inking for last. I don't. I like having my base down because I don't like inking around things once I have them down. I want it, you know, when I glue it down, I want it done. So that's just something I do. I know a lot of people will make their tags and then, you know, come back through, and I don't even come back through usually and patch mine and, you know, double check them, because to me that's the wear and tear of having something old, is you have worn places. Oh, you have worn places. So, and I know some people don't like inking in videos. I'm sorry if you're one of those people, but it is a lot more work if I pause and restart and pause and restart, and I have to re-put all the video together. So this is step by step. That's what I do. So, okay. Love that. Okay, so let me grab my gesso brush. And I know you guys are probably going, what in the world is she doing? I actually have a wash rag that I wipe it out of. I have a jar of water, and I keep a water bottle handy. Here, I'll show it to you. And I just have a mason jar, so I'll throw some water in there when it needs it, and then when I get done crafting, I'll put it up, because most of the time I can swirl around my brush and, you know, get rid of whatever's in it. So, add some gesso. And we're going to randomly gesso. Let me actually get her. Oh yeah, look, I love that. Love it. Love where it's got the aged bumps on the side. Looks like almost like a whitewashed feel. I'm not going to gesso the back because I want to make sure that I leave it. And I'm not going to go sideways over here because I want to make sure that it has that. I want to do a couple dark, really dark, heavy spots. So, just because I sort of like having that dark. And I hope can you guys see all of that? Am I out of frame? I'm sorry if I'm out of frame. Okay. And if you have your gesso, I always keep a wash rag and just wipe around or it's not a wash rag, I'm sorry. It's a baby wipe. And just sort of wipe around the outside edge before I go in there. That keeps it from gluing together. Okay, while this is, we're going to set this to the side while it's drying, which won't take that long. We're going to prep everything else. So we've got our girls. I know I want to use this red stripe just because I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and ink it up. And I want to leave the one side straight. I just sort of like the way it worked out. And this is just random scraps like this. Oh, well, I don't want that edge straight. Like I tore off with my roller. And I had a bunch of people ask about this, and I will link it in the comments. This is the tear ruler tutorial. I have a tutorial on how to make this. And you know, it saves you quite a bit of money. So I'm going to use that. I have this leftover half of a doily that I used on the other one. So we'll ink that up and get it ready. Yeah, there's just something right when you look down at the doily and it's got that edge around it. And I love darkening up the edges like that. Just, I don't know. It makes me happy. Okay, let's see. I have a little scrap. Again, this is out of one of the Walmart scrap bags. Do I want to use... And I'm just going to sort of tear this. I want it sort of ragged and rough, at least on 3 sides. Because I like sort of how that has a hairy look to it, that hairy effect. I just sort of like that. And I don't know what part's going to stick out yet, so. So now I want to use that. I now want to use some music paper. It's already got a torn edge, so let's do a bigger piece than we did on the last one. And again, when I tear these, I just sort of, let me see, I want to make sure it has the music on it. I don't want really the blank part. And again, I just go through and ink the edges. So by the time this dries, we will have all of our stuff inked and ready to go, and we can just throw it together like a bowl of soup. Hottest soup. Okay. There we go. Let's see what else we want to add. I want to add some ribbon. This is Goodwill ribbon. It was $8. I have no idea. It was made in Swiss Vauban production. Vauban from Atlanta, Georgia. So, other than that, that's literally all it says. There's no date or anything, so it is pretty old. So, I'm just going to randomly cut off a piece. And I know I want to do a topper. So I'm going to cut this like this and cut, I try to do them the same angle. So one piece is going to be an angle on one end and flat on the other. It's not exactly straight, but we can clean it up once we glue it on. And I think I just made it worse. Sometimes you try to fix something and then it makes it worse. Okay, so it's going to be sort of flat on one end and angled. And then the other one you want to angle on both ends because we're going to fold it up, staple it at the top for sort of our tag topper. So, yeah, I got a whole entire roll of this. Actually, I went to the Goodwill and I bought, it was 50% off, so I got it for $5. For $10, I got a whole entire huge plastic tote of multiple of different types of ribbon that they had. Okay, so let's build. I know I sort of don't want this flat side to show, so I'm going to start with this as my base. And again, just glue it up. I don't want to cover up over here because I love the way that side looks, so I'm going to sort of scoot it in. Okay. Yeah. And you know, I just move it around to where I think it looks right. Like this, I want just a hair of this flat because I think it'll contradict itself. So I'm going to put this right here. Let's see. And now I have the music. Let's see what I want to do with you. What do I want to do with you? I guess I think I like that. And again, remember, there is no wrong. I mean, a lot of people, you know, get all worked up about, oh, well, you know, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that. No, don't. You can do it any way you want to. If you're new, and I know especially when you're new, a lot of people will worry about, what if I mess it up? You can't. If you mess it up, just cover it up. That's the glory of junk journaling. If you hear a train in the background, I'm sorry. It is that time of day. And then I'm just going to fold my music sheet, sort of add a little flavor to the back. Okay, so we've got that on there. I know I want to add my doily. Did I put it there? Ooh, maybe I want to turn it this way. Yeah, let's turn it this way and do it opposite the way we did last time. And I'm just going to drop some glue on here. I try to go around the, sort of around the edges, just hit a few spots. There's the train. Again, I'm sorry. Okay, and I want that all the way at the bottom. I'm just going to line it up on the edge because I like it that way. So, okay, that's what we have so far. Okay, so we need to add our ribbon, and I want to do it first. Okay, see, I actually made it a little too big, unless, no, I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to do it that far low. How do we do it in the middle? Let's shorten this down. Okay, well, we'll just glue it down and then we'll cut it off. And then again, I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac because it works better. Any kind of, you know, heavy duty glue. I mean, I wouldn't use like E6000 or something like that, but, and then I just sort of judge, like I know, I want it about right there. And I just do a little line because I can go back and add glue underneath once I get it laid down. And one thing with Fabri-Tac is just very gently push, because especially with older fabrics, things like that, because it will come through if you manhandle it. Okay, and I'm just going to trim this right up. That was it. Okay, let's go ahead. Put this on. I am going to go ahead and put my ribbon at the top while this is drying. Unless we want to do a corner. Let's do it off the corner. This is a Tim Holtz Ideology Tiny Attacher. You can use any kind of staple. You can use a grommet. You could sew it. You know, you could do anything else. I'm just using that because it's easy. Okay. So let's decide where we want to put our little girls. Do we want to put the top? No, 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 no. I actually think I'm going to put it here with her little arm coming about center. I just think that's cute. And I'm actually going to use Fabri-Tac because of the ribbon in the background. I'm just going to throw some Fabri-Tac on here. Okay. Line her little arm up because I want it in the center. Now, on my other one, the other tag, I actually used foam tape underneath of them to sort of raise them. This time, with the way it's working, I didn't have to. The other one, I needed that dimension to raise it. It was just too flat. This, I think, with the ribbon in the middle sort of adds that ideal layer to it. Okay. Now, if you go into your scraps from yesterday, remember we had all these scraps we tore off when we made our booklet. And I'm just going to use this. And yes, I'm still in frame, I think, yes. Okay, then I'm just going to excuse me. I'm going to ink up the outside. Nothing big, just throw some ink on there. And if if you're somewhere where you can't find distress ink, any kind of ink works. I mean, if you wanted to do, use black, it would, you know, offset it. We're going to go back around with black at the final time. So where do we want to put our number at today? About there, and it still shows a lot. I actually think I want to shorten this down a little bit. We're using the number 2 in our number set. Whatever numbers, you know, you're using. If you don't want to number it, that's fine. You don't have to number it. I just wanted to show a little bit more of that. Yes. That's where I want that. But before I glue it down, just in case I make any mistakes, ink it up and stamp off because I don't want it super dark. And I want it this way, sort of a diagonal. Hold it down for a second, let it have time to bond into the paper, and pull it off. There we go. So let's put our ink back on. Let's glue our number down. There's some art glitter glue on there. And make sure. Voila! Okay, I do want to add a little bit of depth to the outside because it looks just a little, and I've not really glued anything on the outside, so it's not so bad. So I'm just going to, you know, ink just a teeny tiny bit of black on the outside edges. I'm not going up onto it, I'm literally just hitting the edges. So it sort of creates a frame. And I'll show you in a minute the difference with the other one. Because I mean, pretty much everything else is the same other than the other one had. And we're not done inking. We have a little bit more to do. Okay. So, I'm going to pull out my potato bag again. Oops. I black inked up my vintage photo. Okay. Just in a few of these places, I sort of want to add that gritty pattern. So it sort of follows through right there, and I think I'll do a little bit here. And a little bit right here on this over here, because it just looks better when you do it in threes. And that, my friends, once we... No, I don't think I will. It looks great. Okay. That is what it looks like. So if you want to follow step by step with these, you know, you can use any kind of color ribbon that you want. That just sort of gives you an idea. And like I said, oops, you could actually sew around the edges if you wanted to. Now, you can see where I took the black around the edges, without the black or with the black. This one with the black, I think actually it gives it more of a vintage feel. Where this one's more wide open and it's not as vintage, I don't think. This looks more used, like it's been beat around for a while. So, slide it into there. So we've got that, and I'm trying to find the other one. I did this earlier, I couldn't find it. I lost it, and I was like, how can you lose a page that's sitting right here? So, there you have it. There's your tutorial for the digitals for day 2. And I love this tag. This tag would be so cute like if you made a smaller version, and if you took brown paper bags, like, you know, the lunch bags, and, you know, filled them, you know, full of a gift, you know, for somebody, and, you know, if you had like a Secret Santa at work or whatever, and, you know, one of 25 days counting down to Christmas, it would be so cute. Or again, you know, if you made a tag and, you know, made it more with, I mean, this is actually, you could use for a child's gift too. You know, you could use it for that. But so there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed. You know, please comment below if you enjoyed it. You know, let me know. Join our Facebook group. Feel free to post pictures of your finished your digitals once you work on them and finish them. You know, keep me posted. I would love to see what your ideas are, because I can learn just as much as you can. You know, I'm most people believe everybody can learn, so everybody can learn from other people. Anyway, so here you guys go. I hope you enjoyed. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share, you know, with your friends if you really enjoy it, and we will see you tomorrow for day 3 of our 25 Days of a Christmas Ephemera. Again, I'm creating a playlist, so all of these will go in a playlist. You can play back to back, you know, if you want to sit down one day and just create everything back to back. Have a great day, Merry Early Christmas, and we will see you tomorrow.